So we are on Lichess and we are not logged in. We are going to be playing today in the Lichess Anonymous pool, playing a couple games at the 5+0 time control. Should be said, I am likely to be stronger than my opponents, statistically speaking, given the general population that plays in the Anonymous pool. So that begs the question, why are we doing this? And the purpose of this video is going to be to play clean chess and show clean conversions with my thought process along the way. It's not rated, so no one's feelings get hurt about sandbagging, and I hope to find some instructive moment in here. And there's always the possibility that I run into someone who is stronger than me. There's a real grab bag kind of mentality with the pool here. You never know exactly what you're going to get, who you're going to get paired against. And so it's kind of a bit of the fun playing against someone who is completely anonymous. So let's get into it. Let's try to get a couple games. Right off the bat, we're with the white pieces. I'm going to play e4. I'm not an e4 player predominantly, so I don't know that much theory, so this should be fun. Playing knight f6, there are a couple ways of playing. I know that bishop e5 is supposed to be quite annoying. I've played this way with black a few times, so we're going to take this. And this definitely wasn't the right way. I think we'll look at this afterwards, but I'll just play my bishop back to e2. We're up a pawn, and we're just going to play conservatively for the moment. Instead of playing c6, I think normal is to play bishop d7 or knight d7. Okay, I'm not worried about this. In fact, I could even take that if I wanted, because the knight doesn't function well on this square. But also, there's no harm in just playing knight f3 if they take. Okay, great. You help me develop. And you have to do something. Yeah, see, like this was awkward for black, who had to do something to develop this knight. This bishop needed to be protected. So now we can castle. We can play knight c3 maybe. I could have played d4 as well. But I can play d4 now. In fact, I probably just missed an opportunity to play knight a4. I got kind of caught up. I wanted to play fast. And now I may have missed an opportunity. So I want to develop this bishop. I don't want to hang this pawn. I can play knight e5, which seems nice. I think it's probably time to take this. So great, you develop your knight to a square that I don't think is so great. Let's play knight e5. Why knight e5? I wasn't quite sure what to do here yet. This seemed like a natural way to improve my knight, and now I can maybe grab the bishop. I think the bishop is a good piece for black. Like, if we were to compare pieces, this is not a great piece, and this is a good piece. The queen's moved now, and that just seems like a plain mistake. I think black forgot that I can pin. So even though we allotted all this time, I'm actually playing quite fast, speaking quite fast. Maybe that will leave a little more time for the analysis, or maybe I should just slow down and explain things a bit more clearly. But black was playing fast, and I wanted to keep tempo. And this happens often where someone will play fast, and then they will make a mistake, and then suddenly all that time advantage that they've been getting disappears. So I want to defend this. Or it's clear that black is going to attack it again. My queen's kind of not on a great square. I can play queen e2 though. Go ahead, take my pawn, and I attack your knight. But black didn't even take the pawn. They just missed that the knight was hanging. It's a pretty blatant attempt to checkmate me. So let's just not let that happen. And here, I guess I can just play back queen e2 and attack the knight. There's really no threat here. I can always just take back. Now I want to attack this. Trade queens. If queen comes to here, I get my other rook active. The easiest conversion now would be if I could just trade queens somehow. There's no checkmate possibility after that. And another move I have here potentially is just to come here. Seems nice. Okay, take me, I take you. So we're slowly whittling down pieces. Black doesn't really have an option at this point because I've just forked them. So, okay, like that doesn't make sense. I just take. And we're going to trade queens. So Black should have at least just made the fair trade, and Black resigns. So what happened there? That was very fast. This is a sideline of the Scandinavian. There are a lot of good moves here. d4 is very normal. I think this specifically is called the Portuguese variation. And even here, there's things to know. f3 is a possible move. Bishop e2, white can play simply as well. Additionally, I think there's knight f3. Maybe you can play for c4. I don't know it so well. It's like a sideline of an opening I don't typically play. But this move bishop b5, if I were to think of a good example game, I know that in a previous US championship, there was a game between Fabiano Caruana and Varusian Akobian. And Akobian tried to surprise Caruana with this Akobian typically being a French player. I don't know if that game will show up in this database. There might be stronger matchups that show up. But I know in that game specifically, and it did show up, in that game specifically, Caruana chose this line, and having played this a couple times with the black pieces myself, I know that this line's quite annoying. I mentioned in the game, c6, probably not a great move. Bishop d7. I think there was also a book written by David Smearton, an Australian GM, and in his book, I think he covered both options, but preferred the knight d7 move, which I think involves some sort of pawn sacrifice. Scores okay for black. It scores pretty well for white, I would say. This is definitely a strong way of playing for white, a way of testing black. But it's not like black isn't without chances, even in the master games. And I'm sure in the Lichess database, even if we were to just constrain it to like high-level blitz games, black does okay. So it's a game. But after the way it was played in the game, and here I would almost definitely play with the knight, try to get some initiative. I can even flick on the computer perhaps, but it's more fun to do these without the computer. And yeah, I'm not, I could even spend another tempo and take. I think the knight's just very misplaced on this square. And already we saw when black should be focusing on quick development and maybe castling, black is pretty far from castling. They're down a pawn. This is a weak pawn. And they already have to make this queen move to defend the bishop so the knight can move. Okay, maybe there's a little pressure on the b file, but it's not that big of a deal. And honestly, I just completely moved too fast. I should have gone here. Of course, you should play knight a4 here, grab that bishop. You're left with the bishop pair, although you're likely to not maintain the bishop pair. But I'll click on the computer briefly for here just so it can validate knight a4. And as we saw, knight a4 was better, but I played fast. I was trying to keep up the pace. d4 is not a bad move in and of itself, so I took now and played knight e5. Why take now? It's hard to explain. Why did I take now? I guess there's not a whole lot of... It was just deciding between several good moves. I could have just as easily played knight e5, I think. And I'm not worried about d-pawn, the d-pawn. Even if here I could have taken with the knight. But yeah, of course, this was a mistake. After queen takes, I think I would have still come up with this move. And then maybe played here. And white's just better. Up a pawn. I can defend the pawn, move my knight somehow. Solid first game. We're going to move on to another game. We get paired with the white pieces again. Let's just play in a normal way. Knight f3, bishop c4. I'll just play d3. And I'll play c3. Often you play c3 so that your bishop doesn't get trapped by this knight. I can play h3. I don't think I have to. I think castling is pretty normal. Bishop g4 doesn't really strike me as that strong of a move. I'm going to play knight to d2, and rook to e1, and knight f1, knight g3, and then h3. Normally you see this kind of play happen when I've played bishop to g5. Somehow this feels wrong. If I were to just play here and play here, is this just super risky for me? I can't tell. Black is playing so fast. I want black to prove it to me, because I'm attacking f7 again. Like, are you just going to castle queenside and let me take on f7 and fork your rooks? If you go there, what do I do? I could play here to force like a5 or something. I don't necessarily want to play here. I think this is something that... Oh, but if we move the knight can't come to e7. So let's start with this. I think that's a good move to start with. If they play a6, I don't necessarily want to come here. So we're going to play here. So we get these moves in. And now I want to come here, I think. And I think this is going to be annoying. It makes it harder for black to castle queenside. Although black did anyways. Because can't I just like come here? If you play here, I just gang up on your knight. And it looks like black is busted, just about. So there's queen here, potentially. Some counterattack. And the point is that when I take, there's going to be queen here, and if I move the knight, there's some sort of mate. I guess that's possible. And what if I just defend my knight? Okay, let's take this now. I will still have this sort of defensive resource, which is nice. Okay, I can insert... I don't want to go here and drop my queen. Let's insert this move. So the queen has to step aside, perhaps. And maybe I just give up this knight, because to take it, black has to block this file. Wait a second, can't I just play g3? If g3, there is rook takes. I really want to play knight. I really want to get my queen here. I don't know if I can do that. Okay, what if I were to just go here? Is that too slow? How can I win this in a fast way? What if I just go king here? Then there's knight here. Never mind. This is potentially risky. Let's go for it. Okay, you can't move this bishop. Oh, there's king here. Is there? What am I doing? Okay, we're gonna try to mate him. Pull some quick moves. I think I'm faster. If I just go here, this is a mate threat. This is a really funny move. But I needed to move the bishop in a way. Maybe I could have just played bishop to e2. The point is that if you go here, I still have queen here. And I mate on this square. So it turns out I was faster. But that was really risky. A very exciting game. Bishop e1 double exclam, perhaps. Well, nothing black can do now. I could even pre-move. Unfortunately, no rematch. I feel bad. I often like to give rematches, but I want to analyze this game. So if I moved on to a new game, I'm sure I wouldn't come back to it. Yeah, I wasn't afraid of this. It's very uncommon. In g5, this is so, I guess, so ballsy. I played b4 first. Queen b3 is also good. b4 computer is validating. Maybe I shouldn't take this pawn. I thought it looked good, but okay, I played well. I mean, it seems pretty clear how you should play. And then queen c4 makes more sense. The queen belongs on c4. As we saw in the game, my queen ended up having to come to c4 anyways. And I underestimated some of this counterplay. I'm going to turn off the analysis here. If I try to record and do the analysis, my computer fan is likely to turn on and make the viewing experience worse. But I am curious. I want to see these evals. Oh, knight a5. That's interesting. Yeah, this move doesn't work, unfortunately, because of here. Although, this still would have been possible. I thought this was super risky. Bishop d7. This is hard to calculate. Yeah, knight a3. I really hesitated there during the game because I have to be certain that what I'm doing is winning because of black's counterattack. There's c5 here. Yeah, I I got a bit lucky. Man, I blew it at the end. But I was in time pressure. I spent too much time talking and made some risky decisions. Completely overlooked c5. c5, not a double exclam move, this bishop e1. So because of that, I'm going to play one more and hopefully redeem myself. And good, we get the black pieces this time. Let's play e5. Just like the e4 openings, I don't typically play this, so this should be interesting. I know that there's some sort of nuance here with bishop to b4 and c3 and then like bishop c5. I don't know more than that, so we'll see how this goes. I can't play here, so I have to take like this. I think I can just play knight f6. This is very similar to the main lines, except for c3 has been played. Does queen f3 normally get played? I didn't think so. Let's castle. Do I play d6? d6 seems solid. White isn't seriously going to castle queenside, are they? I could also play rook e8. Let's start with d6. I don't think I was going to play d5. Okay, now I can do this though. Is this good for me? There's going to be queen d3. No, not queen d3. That surprises me. Okay, because now we're going to grab this guy as well. White just has a weak king. Okay, my pawns aren't ideal. I could play rook e8, but maybe I want to play f5 shortly. So let's play... If I move my queen, the king, there's probably going to be some sort of like rook here and king here, castle by hand. So I'm going to be sneaky and play queen c8 and queen a6, and that way after like rook e1, it's not, king doesn't have some obvious safe haven. But this move comes with some downsides. Now this square is free, so my bishop can be improved dramatically. Like I can play here. Now it's a bit awkward to defend this square. You can't just play b3 because the rook is behind it, so you play rook here. But then maybe queen a6, you know, everything's coming with tempo, and then rook b8. This is attacked again, but you can't play your b pawn forward anymore because the a3 hangs, so figure that out. It's kind of awkward for white, and all the time I have this d5 move. Okay, so white's getting desperate and trying for some sort of counterattack, but that counterattack is very slow. Looks like I can just take this, and this pawn's hanging. I still have d5. Yeah, this counterattack is way too slow. I don't know what white's playing at here. I can even trade a bit more. Is it worth playing rook e8 first so that I can maybe do something like this? I think this is just fine. Let's take. Let's play rook e8 and then play d5. Oh, maybe not d5. Maybe play here first. I'm attacking a lot of key things. Then I can play d5. Not just lose the pawn. It's a free pawn as I scroll over the drop bars. If here, okay, well then this is just losing. You know, you're down in the endgame. You can't just trade material like that. Yeah, white should resign. How to convert this? I start to push this pawn White will have to come stop that. I'll step behind it. And even if white runs the king over to grab this pawn, in the meantime, I'm either going to make a second pass pawn on this side, or I'm just going to get my king to the center and grab a pawn or orchestrate some sort of other breakthrough. And this is what you would call the principle of two weaknesses. Eventually, white would crumble. There would be no way to defend everything at once, like trying to hold water in your hands. The water will seep through. So if we analyze this real quick, again, I played an opening that I don't know much theory. I remember, yeah, this bishop e4 move, one of the main moves, not as popular as knight f6 and bishop c5. I remember, I mean, okay, well, clearly if Magnus has played it, it's a good move. It's one of the good moves. I remember some video I was watching or some live stream where Yasser Seirawan, Grandmaster Seirawan, had talked about this move, and maybe it was even in one of the St. Louis Chess Club videos. It has some nuance to it. You're inducing c3 before coming back to c5, or I guess even in some cases to e7. I didn't think a5. It's funny, you'll have these random 5 times played moves in the database and actually has the best results for black, but probably because it's been played by average rating lower players. Top player would never play it, and had some surprise value, or maybe they outrated their opponents. Yeah, you can see in all these games, well, at least in these two. Never mind, it seemed like it's a split between whether white was higher rated or black was higher rated. But yeah, I thought bishop c5 was the move. Knight takes c6. In some positions, you have this sort of intermediate move threatening checkmate, and you can take back with the queen. I think that's a theme. I've never seen. I can't actually think of a position where you would do that. Often you'll see queen f6 and then takes anyways. Here you can't do that because with c3 play, the knight can come back. So I just took back. And bishop f4 felt kind of random. It's not a very flexible move to play bishop f4. You've now spent a move playing that, and I don't think the bishop really belongs there. I'm going to play d6 likely, and is white playing e5? Unclear. More often, white wants to castle kingside, so you see a move like bishop d3 or bishop c4, and then this must be one of the nuances. You have queen h4, this is annoying. Queen e2, knight f6. Might be worth exploring this further. That's interesting. Nice. Came between two legends. Peter Leko is such a great player, and it goes to show you how dominant Garry Kasparov was to be. Well, yeah, Peter Leko wouldn't have been young in 1997. He would have probably been in his 20s, so already a very strong grandmaster. So that just shows you how dominant Kasparov was in his peak. Anyways, that was a big tangent. I think at this point in the game, I can briefly see d5 would have been strong. In fact, I really needed to play d5. And if e5, I just have knight g4, because at the very least, if I were to be forced to take, then I can win the piece back. So yeah, definitely do this. I should have played d5 just because white's king is still in the center. Makes much more sense. And d6, it's not like d6 is a better pawn structure, leaving white with extra space. Yeah, d5 should have been the instinct, and it wasn't. d6 was my instinct, and my instinct was wrong. And I should have been able to override that instinct anyways because of white's king position and the fact that I'm already castled. So it's a bit disappointing that I played a move that lost me my advantage. But yeah, this doesn't make sense. I thought queen d3 for sure. Because now I thought queen c8 was kind of clever. Queen b8 might have been a similar, maybe slightly stronger version, because we attack the pawn and then we still have queen here. So this is a sneaky strong move. c4, oh, I just have f5. Maybe a secondary purpose is to prepare f5. Completely overlooked. I was so tunnel visioned on queen a6. But even here, this is fairly strong. Yeah, already when the computer's recommending b4, something's gone wrong. Why doesn't it want this? Okay, this is still strong. It's just, the computer just thinks it's stronger to focus on the king. And, you know, that's fair. But yeah, after this, white collapses. I can simplify the position. I can just make sure to solve the open things, attack everything, support everything. And, okay, white didn't even wait for me. I already explained how to convert this. Not a bad game. I'm satisfied with these. Hopefully these were instructive. Again, this is kind of like sandbagging, or it is in a sense sandbagging. It's anonymous, so it's not like I'm guaranteed to play against people lower than me, but just statistically it's likely. But the purpose of these was to play, let's say, clean chess, as I said before, or cogent chess. Basically, I wanted to explain my thought process. I think that went pretty well, so I'll do this again in the future, I think, and I think this was a success. Yeah, I'll do this again in the future, and I'll see you then.